of the week was one of the great news of the week was I'm gonna share my screen. Was the building and the building of this tool. This tool is up in the public, in the hands of the public. This GitHub TX5 Ognios client starter kit. This tool makes the work of install and building and implement all the tools to run a node and run these difficult tools sometimes. These Nix tools and these Nix and all this environment in general that sometimes present difficulties for the developers. But this kind of tools facilitate the implementation. In other words, this kind of tools made all the work, and you as developer, you just have to wait for the tool make the job. This is this tool. This tool implement all the environment for itself. You as a developer just have to click in the repository, and once you are inside, you can find this button. Okay, this is Ognios client starter kit. In general, all the tools of this class are starter kits. A starter kit is a group of tools that a group of libraries and packages and tools that as a group they permit implement a whole environment. In this case, for example, we just simply I can click here, and this is the tool, and it's as simple as keep clicking this button, and the tool start to implement all the tools. In past sessions, we saw that process of the process of set up the environment is sometimes difficult, sometimes requires time and resources and patience. But in this case, we can just use this tool. And now the question is, it's good that these kind of tools exist in the ecosystem. Sometimes it's better know how to install manually the tools, because in that case, in this scenario, you know what the tools are doing in your machine and in your environment, in your work in general. But the existence of these tools is simply a fact. I prefer sometimes make the things manually because that permits me to know what is happening in my machine, but also the existence of these tools makes possible take less time and less effort in these kind of implementations, and permit me focus on the work. So I have here this environment. As you see, the tool made all the installations for itself. If I go here, I have here all tests of the previous test of the tool. I want to pause. I want to pause all this. Okay, if I'm inside of two, and if I go here, I can select. I can select the kind of environment that I want to work. For example, in this case, for our sessions, I want a Plutus apps environment, a Plutus app environment. This environment includes VS Code, include Haskell, Cabal, remember Cabal, include Nix, that Nix and the complicated installation of the Nix. The tool makes that installation. So I simply select. In this case, I select also the amount of resources that I want to devote to this environment. I have to remember that the tool makes all the installations, but I have to provide the resources, as in the case of the manual installation, the traditional installation. And here, I simply copy and paste. I copy and paste the repository in which I want to work. In this case, my repository is the Plutus PBL. This Plutus PBL course 2 it's the repository in which we are working. This repository. The idea is I select the repository in which I want to work. This, okay? Repository, the kind of environment, and the size of the resources that I want to provide. And simply I create the workshop, the environment, the workspace. And you can see here the tool is preparing for itself all the environment. It's different when, for example, you have to do the things in the usual way. And the usual way is you go to your console. I have to indicate to my machine a WSL partition because I have a Windows machine. But here this tool is installing all the tools. So what I need to configure the environment, the workspace. This is the easy way, and this is the usual way. A little bit complicated, but no problem. I insist that with the pass of the time, you take some experience and you resist some routines. In this case, for example, I have to turn on my node because I have installed my node, my Cardano node. So this is the root of. I have to find first I have to find the node. In this moment, we have the two ways. The easy way with the tool and the usual way. I don't want to say the complicated, but the usual. But the ecosystem is evolving. So we have to take, it's our duty, take all the enhancements and the progress of the ecosystem in our side. It's my opinion. Note. Scripts. Okay. not my message. This is the machine, and this is the node. We have seen in previous sessions how is the node, how looks the node. This is the machine, and this is in the tool. And I have in this moment in the tool, I have not only the node, I have Nix, I have the Cabal, and all the installation necessary to run a complete environment to work. After that, you simply go here, open VS Code, the famous VS Code. And the tool brings to your machine in your machine in your navigator, brings a VS Code environment. And here I have all the repository that in which I want to work. And it's really simple. And it's really quick because in this case, I have to start a node. After that, I have to open again other console. Habilitate the variable environments. I have to copy this. This is my access route, my access path to my node. In other console, I have to copy paste this. And in this point, I'm ready to start my job. Also, it's not because I had all the installations previously. This is also a quick procedure, but we have the two. The important thing is we have options. We can choose. We can choose what is your favorite. You can choose, and one of the most important is the students of the developers in general. People that want to start to develop on top on Cardano can take this tool and in some way make more easy this is a famous step, the step of the installations of the Nix, the Cabal, installation of the Cardano node. It's really all the developers each developer have a story about how is the installation of those tools and this kind of initiatives. In this case, from this company names TXPipe. This is a company named TXPipe. The Meteron is just a platform. TXPipe, in its case, with this tool, they take the problem and provide a solution around the installations, around that process. And that's it. That's it. It's really easy. And you can start here to work. You have here your project. For example, if I want to see some script or some file, sorry, or some file, simply you can start. Here you have your files. You have all your code, compiler, all your files, or your script, all your scripts, and you can start simply. You can start to work. So, and in this point, a few days ago, I was thinking about the importance of the preoccupations, of the concerns about the important. What is important in the life of a developer on Cardano? What is important? And I think the most important thing is understand the basics, the fundamentals. The goal of each developer is develop things that can uh, deliver to the people. For one, or in general, the reason is enhance the life of the people, provide some enhance to the lives of the people. And in this goal, as developers, we have to think in a more general way. We have to think in the more most in a general view about what uh, what we want built in the ecosystem in Cardano in general. So in this sense, I just wanted to show you this tool. I have here this is the link. I'm gonna send you in the chat, and you can, in your free time, you can tinker it with the tool. It's really fun. Okay. In this session, my goal, my purpose is see the fundamental components of an application on Cardano. I'm gonna start with this application, with this dApp. This is a dApp for pet registry. I have a pet. She's my daughter, always my daughter. So I have interest in maintains some kind of registry in case she left my home in a in out of my home. Okay, so I found this app, this application. This is a front end, really beautiful front end here. Okay, so start to imagine how looks an app in general. How looks a potential idea around around a app, around a service or a product. In this case, for example, my pets. I go to okay. I start to look some things. I'm gonna here. I'm gonna open because I want to start with a new session. Okay. Get started. Okay. This is the all the this is the common procedure for almost all the apps. You have to register and you have a password, but the password is based on a seed phrase in this case. Okay, name, my email address. I'm gonna start to a different. Okay, and I have here my seed phrase. All the apps are based in this procedure, in this login procedure. Okay, here's my password. I have here my seed phrase. Right, sorry. Okay, again, as I close the screen, so I have to do this again. Passwords. Okay, excellent. I mean, no pets. Add a pet. See this. To add your pet to the Cardano pet registry. To the Cardano pet registry. Okay, it's a Cardano dApp. A pet. I have here some data. As you see, female, male, Rocco, 7, 11, 35. Okay. Read Schnauzer. This is a Cardano's dApp, no? So it's not different from the traditional Web2 dApps. It functions in the same way. You have to have a front end attractive and interactive for the user. Where are you? Where is this? Okay. Choose file. Okay. I have here some description. And I have here a final message. And that's it. I have here the option encrypt is data. So it's unreadable on Cardano Explorer. You can choose that. I don't choose that because I want in this case of if my dog is lost, I don't need encrypted info in general. Saved. Okay, this is a rock bowl. Okay, my mistake. And if I watch the profile of my dog, I can see that the profile is not different from other dApps in our traditional world. It's not different. The dynamics are the same. But the difference is we work in the Web3 world, in the Web3 world. We work in blockchain. We work in Cardano blockchain. So I have this option, register to blockchain. Notice this characteristic of this doggy running. It's part of a friendly front end. You don't have enough funds to cover the transaction. Okay. Mr. Rock on the Cardano blockchain, it will cost 21. You are currently 0. Okay. One of the fundamental things of all the dApps in blockchain dApps is they function in general, they function based on the connection on a wallet. You need a wallet to interact with any dApp on Cardano and on the other blockchains. Okay, I go to my wallet. I have 0, so I want to add package. I have here the packages. I have an essential packages, I have an standard packages, and a premium. For this exercise, my interest is the basic essential. Go 0, okay. Pay, and not see this. Simply, it's not different. I insist, it's not different from the best dApps, best apps in the Web2. You have here packages. You can select the type of the type of package you want. Select this essential. Go to other page in which they show me my balance 0, 0, 0, 0 ADAs. And if I go here, other window appears, and this window offers me this address, the address of also the QRs, the QR code, but he offers me the address, so I can copy this address. Copy. Okay, I go to my wallet. He's waiting it's waiting the transfer of that ADA. I go here. I have here my NAMI. This is just send. Paste. One ADA. Okay. Sorry, I have to consult my. Forget that I have to. Okay. Okay, the usual procedure. And confirm. I go back to the platform, and the platform is waiting to the arrive of the transaction. You have to remember that the transactions, the most common is the transactions take a few seconds.
Pardon, Sebastian.
Yep.
There's a question from Faldrian.
Okay. I have a question. Okay, is there an API for native React or a similar front end for market? Yes, yes, it exists. It's called. We work with Mesh, a library called Mesh. We are gonna see in a moment. We are see all these libraries and APIs. We work with a library called Mesh. Also, we work with a library called GraphQL. But there are, and also we work with Dandelion. Dandelion is an API from Gimbalabs. But there are many options, and the idea is through the APIs you can connect your front end with your backend. And in this case, your backend is your contract, your smart contract. That's in a moment we are gonna go there. Okay, thanks. Your payment has been successfully proceed. Close. And I can go to my registrations. Oh no, okay. To my pet, and in this case, I go to register to blockchain. Cool doggy. And in this moment, okay, to register Rocco and the Cardano blockchain, it will cost 0.21. Okay, your current balance is 1 ADA. Okay, confirm. And in the case of this DApp, you don't have to make some direct contact with the wallet, but in the back of the DApp exists that connection between the wallet and the application. The presence of a wallet is permanent for the moment. Your pet was successfully registered on the Cardano blockchain. And if I go to the Cardano blockchain explorer, I can see I can see the photo, the name of my pet, all the data, all the metadata that I attach to the transaction, to this transaction. All of this was simply a transaction with a really cool interface, but a transaction. And as we saw in the previous sessions, the fundamental particle of the Cardano blockchain, of all that happens in the Cardano blockchain, is the transaction. This is the fundamental particle. In a transaction, we have, this is our transaction. The basics are simple. First, you have to have conscience about a transaction. What are the components of a transaction? A transaction simply is, this is the transaction, and a transaction has inputs, and produces outputs. All these inputs and all these outputs are called UTXOs. UTXOs in and UTXOs out. UTXOs go inside to the transaction from your wallet, in this case, my wallet. This is my wallet, let's say. This is my wallet. And UTXOs go out from these new TXOs, new outputs, because all that in this box is different from all that go out from this box. are different things, are different transaction hash, but the general idea is things in and things out. And all these things are called UTXOs. In this case, these UTXOs, so these inputs are spent in the transaction, and in this case, inputs are created, are produced, and go to some other wallet, in this case, the wallet of pet register. And if I have, if we have change in the wallet change, this change goes to my wallet. Okay, that's the general idea. Now, in general, the fundamental things are learned in a whiteboard. And this is not a different case. As not only as developers, as we are developers, we have to keep some business mentality, because we have to think in terms of business. It's not sufficient with being a talented developer. You have to feed and grow some kind of business mentality, because it's in this business mentality that you can see what is work and what doesn't work, what works and what doesn't work. You can see the logic of the business logic of your idea. Without that business logic, the idea is useful. And the general view of adapt, we are talking about dApps. No? We are talking about simply dApps. And in each dApp in the Cardano blockchain, in general, in all the in all the internet in general. But let's talk about just the adapt on Cardano. We have here a user. This is the user, and the user needs the user needs a front end, an interface. Front end. The user needs an interactive interface with which he needs to interact. He or she needs to interact with your dApp. So you have here a first layer named the front end, the interface. In the back, you have your smart contract. This is your backend, your smart contract. This is your back end. And here you have the blockchain. But you don't have control about the blockchain. Different to, for example, in other apps in which you have a database and you can manipulate the database. In this case, the Cardano blockchain is simply an organism that is at disposal of the people in general. The people can use the Cardano blockchain. The people can interact with the Cardano blockchain, but people can manipulate or use at their disposition of the Cardano blockchain. In general, you have here. Okay. In sum, we have here the Cardano blockchain. We have here our smart contract, and we have here our front end. And this is the user. The user with a necessity. User with a necessity of financial, in the financial, healthcare, education, commerce areas. All areas full of problems and full of opportunities. Okay, that's generally the end. That's the general schema. This is simply adapt. So in the between the front end and the contract, and the front end and the blockchain, you have some tools commonly named APIs. These APIs permit to build the transactions. Build the transactions that you want to build. Permits bring data, bring information from the blockchain to your front end, and then send that information to the contract, to your backend in this case. And that APIs also, we have here an API. These APIs are simply bridges or vehicles. They transport information from the front end to the blockchain, from the front end to the contract, from the contract to the Cardano blockchain. That's it's very basic. In general, the idea is really basic, and that's in general terms what is the composition of a DApp. Maybe, of course, I can lose some components or some characteristics, but in general, this is the scheme, the reality of a DApp. Okay. Cancel. Okay, sorry. New board. Okay, let's talk about the front end. The front end, I'm gonna share with you a real front end. Okay, I'm gonna close here, close this. I have here I have here my VS Code. VS Code is simply a tool that it's an interface and know about programming interface. You can so simply a choice. It's a choice. There are many choices. Visual Studio Code is the tool that permits work in your on your files and make code in general. You can install it in your machine, or you can work in as we saw in the previous minutes ago. We can access to online application. Okay, this is my VS Code, and in my VS Code, I have a front end. This is a front end from we take to teach the students how a front end looks. This front end is if you know about the development of front ends, you can use Angular, you can use React, or you can use some other tools that are in the real world to make some beautiful and interesting front ends. Okay, this is my front end, and I have here the pages. And this front end looks in this way. Okay, I'm gonna activate in my activate. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna run that project. Okay, this. You don't have to worry about this. All this. This is in if you take the Plutus PBL at the Gimbalabs Plutus PBL, you can gain some knowledge and expertise on all these things. I gained. I have to confess, I'm a student from the Gimbalabs Plutus PBL, and after a weeks of study the program, I can work. I get to know all these things. Okay, this is the project, PPBL from a template. Nope. I'm gonna activate. Don't worry, this is all commands and procedures and all this. What you have to note is the logic behind how it's built and adapt on Cardano. Okay. Localhost. Please, if you have questions, you have to talk me because I don't see the chat. But with all freedom, you can talk as we feel. Okay, this is the front end, very basic and not too pretty, but I like the front end. I like this front end. It's good for the students. As in all DApp, all web page, we have here options. We have here a menu. For example, this first page shows the ability to connect to some wallet, and the DApp detect immediately what kind of wallets I have in my machine. This is an eternal wallet, and here I have this NAMI that I connect in the past, connected a few minutes ago. But this is the real wallet. I'm gonna go to the testnet because this is a front end from testnet. Sorry, preprod. Test data. Okay, connect to Nave, and the application connect my wallet to Nave. And make some other things. I don't have in this moment. I don't have this token, but if I would have the token, I can connect with this page. Okay, this is options in the page, options in the application. For example, we have here this button named donate button. If okay, in a moment, as I don't have the token, I can't donate. But the idea is the following. One of the simplest transactions we can is donate button. Anyone who clicks it will send 5 test ADAs to a hard-coded address. You'll know the transaction was successful if you see a TX hash here, okay? And when the transaction is successful, in this space appears the hash of the transaction. In other, the hash, the code of the transaction, in other words. And after the transaction, you can go to testnet Cardano scan.io and consult that transaction, as I made in the pets case. And I have here this page name. This page is transactions. Transactions, and I have here the project. And in these transactions, contains this file that simply says to the navigator, show the main page. But I want to see okay, first transactions. In first transactions, and these transactions, I have here buttons, donate button, donate form. Let's reduce this. Okay, donate button, donate form. Quickly send a token and other takes the transaction 10. In this case, in the case of this donate button, okay, let's see. Okay, this index page is composed by many subcomponents. All those subcomponents are these buttons, its functionalities. We have here the connect button functionality, the donate form functionality, the transaction template functionality. And if I go here to this, okay. So I go, for example, to the button in components. Here, components, transactions, donate button. You can see here all the function of the donate button. For example, don't worry about the details. This session is not for learn how to build a front end. This is just code, and you can assign that task to your favorite geek, favorite tech, or other technician that knows all these things. The important thing as, let's say, a developer with a business mind, the important thing is understand how the things connect, how this button, for example, or how this, for example, this dollar button connects with all the transaction, all the transaction, all the transaction, outs, ins, all the transaction that you want to build. That's the main goal. The rest is all code and sometimes complexity, and sometimes simply cool things. This function, for example, this button says anyone who clicks it will send 5 test ADAs to a hard-coded test ADAs. Okay, hard-coded address. Where is that hard-coded address? This donation address, because it's a donation button. We have here the donation address, and this donation address in this variable called donation address. Here we have the address. In general, when you have a non-profit organization, all the donations go to the same address. In this case is not different. We are thinking about the reality of the non-profit organizations in this case. So in this case, we have a unique address. Here, anyone who clicks it will send 5 test ADAs, okay? 5 test ADAs. Where are those 5 test ADAs? Here. Here, 5 test ADAs, 5 million lowness of test. And how it functions? How functions the button? Okay. We have here functions through this API, this tool named Mesh. This is our API that brings and sends information from the front end to the information to the front end, to the contract to the blockchain, or the front end to the blockchain back to the front end, etc., etc., etc. This messenger, this is just a messenger, send this information and brings the information. This messenger build this transaction. TX is transaction. And how build the transaction? Sorry, you have questions? Okay. So we have here the transaction, and how did I build the transaction called donation? Donation. This is a transaction. Transaction of donate some money. Okay, you have to connect first a wallet. You have to connect a wallet. Then you have to you have to use a function named transaction. That transaction builds all the transaction, all the components of the transaction. First, you have to connect. You have to be connected to the wallet. You have to, as a user, you have to connect your wallet. Next, you have to use a function named send loveless. This is a function from Mesh, from this library. So you don't have to worry about. A function is a tool. Also, it's a thing that makes many works in general. One of the words this. Yes. Okay, so in this case, this function makes the work of send of receive that money. Send Loveless. Where? To this donation address, to this address, and how much? This money. This is a function, this is a function, this is other function, and all that function, all those functions build the transaction each time the people go here and make click in the button. And you have other things also, of course. For example, in this, when all this, okay. When all is good, how the application builds a transaction. Again, the transaction used many properties or many functions from this mesh library. The library is like the application that we saw in the first minutes of this session. The library makes all the work. This library, for example, build the transaction. After that, sign the transaction, and after that, submit the transaction to the blockchain, and retrieves a large number called TX hash, and that TX hash appears here. You know that the transaction was successful if you see a TX hash here, okay, and appears a whole number, a long number, a hash. But it's in this interaction that you can see what's the functioning of this simple part, this donate button. And the function of this button is just in this piece, in this portion of code, and many other things. Okay. Okay. And as an exercise, you have simply to extend this concept to the function of all the other buttons. For example, this send, this in this case, we don't have a 5 test ADAS fixed. We can establish the amount that I want to send to the charity or to the organization, and we have for this button we have also saturated transaction. I don't have to connect my wire because I don't have the okay. But for this button, we have other functions. For example, we can see here donate form. This is the donate form function. As in this case, for example, other function would be packages, and the button add to packages. The same case. So the donate form and the button send this much Loveless, and we can go here. Just don't worry about understand all this thing of coding. Just concentrate your attention in understand the connections, simply a connection, the logic behind how a front end connects with how a beautiful front end. I like this front end. But this beautiful front end connects with the whole architecture, with the whole logic of the dApp. Because as if you are in charge of a team, the most important thing that you have to the most important task you have to develop is coordinate all the efforts around the building of the dApp. So here you are here, seeing everything from the top, seeing how function all the data. You can see, you know, as team leader, team lead, you know how you have that you have here a front end section, a smart contract section area, and a Cardano blockchain area. You know those interactions. Okay, donate form. Donate form. Donate form. Also, we have again this the address, the fixed address. We have again some libraries and some tools to connect all the parts. Here in the design, you can see the message: send this match Lovelace. This is a design part, the pretty part of make the button on this color and on this with this message. And here we have the logic, the conditions. Again, okay, here. Okay, again, we have to build a transaction. Using this function, we have to connect a wallet to make the transfer, and we use again this function from this tool match, this library. From this library is like a dictionary, a list of many functions that you can use. Depend of what you need. And you need, in this case, for example, a function that sends money to this address. And the main for this work, for that work, is this function named send loans. This man needs the address, named donation address, this donation address, and we need this is the value. This is this formic is a little form. This is a tool that permits to build this short form. And the value type in the form and in terms of Lovelace. Okay, this function needs these two types of data, and as in the previous example, here you need build, sign, and submit. Here you need build, sign, and submit the transaction. And now imagine in this case, for example, what are the components of the transaction? We have we have my address. We have here my address, obviously, but we have here the money that I want to send. And all that is packaged in a only input named UTX. Oh, it's just a name, but the general idea is a piece of money in my wallet, a piece of money in my balance. We have many pieces of many UTXOs or many balances in my wallet. For example, we can do this all the time, every time. But with this tool from TXPipe, that tool that we saw in the beginning, I don't have to make all these things. I'm fine with that, but with this other tool and the new tools that arrive every month in the ecosystem, because this is an ecosystem evolving every time. Each time the ecosystem is evolving, so we have to take the tools and use it for our benefit, the benefit of our cause. Okay, for example, I have here this. This is my wallet. This is the address of my wallet. And I want to consult all the UTXOs in my wallet. This is the command, the line of command that you enter into in your console, and you obtain this information. And each one of these TX hashes are UTXOs. For example, in this UTXO, it's like a big. In the beginning, I have only one UTXO, only one of these, a big one. That was the big one is this I have here. But this wallet is for make many exercises and many tests. So with the time, I take this. I took this big UTXO, and with the time, the UTXO was evolving in many others. For example, I have here 1.5 ADAs. I have here 2 ADAs. I have here almost 5 ADAs. I have here 1.5 ADAs with some tokens. But the idea is I have in my wallet many UTXOs. In one of those UTXOs, I want to take one of those UTXOs to make a donation. With the idea, as in other cases, the user don't need to make the heavy work to select the UTXO and select and build the transaction. They don't need that. They don't have to assume that work. We built that all those functionalities in our front end, in this case, using this in this case this mesh library, this dictionary from many functions, and we make that work. We select the UTXO from the wallet of the user. Maybe if I want to make a donation of 5 ADAs, let's say, no, because this has tokens. A pure UTXO with ADAs. This, for example, I want to donate 4 ADAs. The application selects. It makes the selection of the most convenient UTXOs in my wallet. Check my wallet, review, check all my UTXOs and select the most convenient. In this case, if I want to make a donation of 4 ADAs, this front end selects that UTXO and selects that UTXO with the help of this tool called Martify Labs called Mesh. But that's the idea. That's the idea in general. So build the transaction, sign the transaction, submit the transaction, At the end, the outputs of my transaction will be one UTXO in direction to the address, not my address, the address of the charity, the non-profit organization, with my, let's see, I have a UTXO of 5 ADAs, but I just want to make a donation of 4 ADAs. This is for the non-profit organization, and the change goes to my wallet. And to my address, that 1 ADA. Okay, and we have a equality from the input side and in the output side. We have 5 ADAs here and we have 5 ADAs here. The equation needs to be balanced. In our case, the transaction is not accepted for the blockchain. You have to, you need 5 ADAs in the inputs and you need 5 ADAs in the outputs. But as a developer, you don't have to calculate or do all that thing. You have some very efficient assistance in this SERS match, called match. They make all the calculations, with this library, you don't have to, for example, you have to make all this in the Cardano CLI, transaction build, and construct and build all the transactions. Like this, you don't need to make, for example, simple transaction, and this is a simple transaction. You don't need to read all this block of code and make all this work. In this case, the tools at your disposition of the developers make all of this. But that's the problem of your developers. You, as a lead team, as a project manager, you have to think in the general picture, in the big picture. And you know, in this moment, until this point, you know that exists a section named front end, and exists a nation called the backend. In terms of this web 2 world, but you have an area named the backend, and this is a really interesting section. Okay, from the side of the smart contracts, don't forget front end and smart contracts. The back. El backend. Okay, we have contracts. In the development of dApps on Cardano, we have two fundamental things. We have on-chain code. And we have off-chain code. This is, let's say, this is the general play field. We play in two areas constantly, in the on-chain area and in the off-chain area. This off-chain, the off-chain code is this off-chain. For example, the off-chain code is this button, okay, this part in charge of build the transaction. In this part, we build the transaction. We tell to the application, please build the transaction each time the user click in this button. So when the user click in the button, this code build the transaction. Build the transaction. So the off-chain code build the transaction. Yes, okay. And the on-chain code verifies the transaction. Just make the on-chain code. The only work of the on-chain code is verify the transactions. No more. Just verify. Verify. The transaction. It's his only work. His only work is verify the transaction, the on-chain code. And the work of the on-chain code and the off-chain code, is build the transaction. Build and verifies. Build and verifies. The results of a verification would be true or false. True, the transaction is submitted to the blockchain. False, the transaction is not submitted to the blockchain. And the off-chain code, in this case, simply build the transaction for send it to the on-chain code for verification. And in this part, in this verification part, this verification is the work of the smart contracts. The smart contracts only makes one thing: verify. We have different levels of verification. The smart contracts are like in some cases you need to build basic transactions. So you need some intelligence around the building of the transactions, and in other case you need some intelligence. You need some more complexity. This transaction, for example, in general, we have in this development world, we have complex transactions and simple transactions. And for each case, we have different contracts. Simple transactions on this side, and complex transactions. For example, if you want simply send money to a friend, or to one of your family members, that kind of transaction is simple. It's not complex. You don't need many intelligence around the building of the transaction. Other case is when, for example, you want to build a financial application or a healthcare application or a loans application, where you have to take in account many variables and many other possibilities different to the simple sending and receiving money. So you need more complexity, more intelligence in your contract. This simple transaction, the contract used for these basic transactions is called native contract. Native contract. And a native contract looks, give me a minute. Okay, PPBL. So let's look here. Here. Question? Yeah, okay. Is on-chain only a validation? That's right. But if validation and verification, that's all the work that on-chain does. It's possible in on-chain, can some kind of calculation logic too? Of course. I think we can build some helper functions, some properties inside all is possible. But you as a developer, you want to separate those things. You want to build, for one side, the building of the app, and for the other side, the verification of the app, because that separation has security implications, efficiency implications, many implications. So it's possible because in code, in terms of creativity and innovation, you can do anything, but is really it's practical to maintain separated two things. From one side, the verification task, and for the other side, the building task. Okay. This is the Plutus PPBL. Mm-hmm. Transactions in the environment. Okay. Okay, a native script is I can do a native script here. Okay. Uh, a native script is composed for two things. Native script composed by okay, here. Sorry. Native script. Okay, okay. Save to do the money calculation process of chain. Is of chain vulnerable to manipulation, exploitation? Of course. Uh, it's equally insecure if you make the money calculations off chain or on chain. You have to take security measures in the both sides, because the vulnerabilities are in both sides. But it's an area very well known, and you, as a developer, you have the tools needed to take the security measures and make secure transactions. Okay. Give me a minute. Okay. Okay, this is this section. This section is a native script. It's really simple. You have this is the most simple. It's composed by a key hash. A key hash is a hash corresponded to your public key hash. This is the hash of a when you open a wallet and you are assigned an address in your wallet. That address is produced by two things: a public key hash and a signing key hash. The public key hash is the public key and the signing key. That public key is the key that you can show to the people. You can show to the public without with a minimum security risks. And the signing key is the key with which you sign all your transactions. is the key that permits the access to your funds in your wallet. That makes, for the user, is that invisible. That process are invisible because the idea is the user don't have to to have worries about how function the things in the back. Sorry, in the back. But in the back, we have a public key and a private key, and with that private key, we sign all these transactions. So if we're talking about a simple transaction, as for example, send money, we use a native contract. And a native contract is the most basic kind of contract. We have only two kinds of contract: the native and the Plutus contract. Let's say the Plutus contract is a more intelligent guy. In the Plutus contract is in condition of assume more responsibilities, assume more variations and more variables and more. It's in capacity of assume complex situations, depending of what's our goal with our DApp, with our service of product. So the native contract is simply here we have the address, of the sender, my address in this case, and this is a simple condition. The condition is this any transaction, this transaction, in this case, this transaction, this send money to a friend, this transaction requires from my side, this is me, this is my address. In other, you can think about that in this way, in that way. This is me, and the condition is you have to sign. You have to sign the transaction. This contract requires the sign of this address of this person. That don't need too much intelligence, too much resources, and too much things. Just send your transaction, signing it. You have to sign. That transaction have to be signed for this person, But when we have to build a more complex DApp, let's say we want to build financial DApp, or let's imagine many. You have to build a business, loans DApp, or care DApp, for example. In sum, you want to build a business, and a business is a complex business. It's not as simple as send money to a friend. It's not as simple. You have to take in account many other variables. For example, the question of security measures. If your service are gonna transfer and manage money, you have to take into account those kind of things have to enter in the equation. So you use a more complex, a more robust contract, kind of contract. This is the Plutus contract. The Plutus contract. And one example of the Plutus contract, don't worry, I have here the Plutus contract. This, for example, this is a contract, a Plutus contract, you can see is different from this. Don't worry about the code again. Don't worry about the code, but understand all the minutiae around the code. But you can note that it's different. It's different. It's more robust from the native contract. More code, more conditions, more characteristics. And this is the Plutus contract. I present you the Plutus contract. We have here many other libraries, etc., etc. The heart. If you have to know something important about this, the Plutus contracts is the heart of a smart contract or a smart contract. A Plutus contract is the validator. Is the validator because with that validator, you verifies or validates transactions, and all occurs in this part. In this case, in the case of this contract, is the validator. The validator is the heart. As you can think, okay, this is only for geeks, so only for technicians, or only for savvy technicians, but that's not true. The best in this card, we can find the business logic. That card is the validator is the business logic. In this case, for example, this is a contract of a platform of a retail platform that rents to the sellers a space and charge some fee for each transaction, and the buyers come to the platform and buy to the seller, basically. And each time the seller makes a sale, the owner of the platform obtains a cut, a fee, a commission. That's the idea. And imagine that business logic. Don't imagine the complex. Don't imagine the complexities of the code. Imagine simply all the logic around that business idea. You take your house, your home. You take a piece of paper. You take a piece of paper and start to design the key pieces of your business. The key pieces of your business, and how those pieces connect each other. What are the variables that you have taken account to build that business idea, that logic, that business logic? You start to connect, and then you talk to your techie, and both start to design the business logic. But the most important idea is the validator that validates all the transactions
validates or verificates the transactions. You can see here a bool. Bool have only two options, true or false. Those are the input information. Maybe in the next session we can see some in more deeply what is all this. Don't worry. But the most important idea here is the greatest designers of logic business are not the developers, are not the people that is really skilled in code. They don't design the best logical business, the best logic business. The logic business is designed by other people with experience in that area, people with some creativity or some imagination or some other thing that the normal developers don't have. They write all these things. They are really talented writing those things in those in those things. But the really skilled people writing the heart of the business is people with other skills. And you as a developer, you can make a career. You can make a brilliant, satisfying career, dedicating your efforts only to the front end, to this section of the infrastructure. Or you can dedicate your efforts you can build a career, a whole career, working only in this smart contracts building, and you can build a whole career designing and creating logic business. Okay, in general terms, that's the general pieces, the key pieces of building adapt on Cardano and in other blockchains in general. That's the reality. I try to show you the reality of build adapt on Cardano. How to the final result is something like that, something beautiful like that. In my mind, this is also beautiful. This field, because it's very useful to teach students. But you can design many things as beautiful as this, and the reality in the back, under the hood, is this. We have a front end that have functionalities, and we have functionalities that build the transactions, and we have a backend. Let's say backend that only verifies and authorize the transactions. This bool is in that place for that, for authorize, for the authorization of the transactions, and only are authorized if the transactions accomplish those certain conditions that you design, you establish previously in your logic business. Questions? I think we can in the next session we can see more in depth what are, for example, these inputs to the validator. The validator needs information, and that information is given to the validator in the form of these variables. We can see that in the next session. What is the redeemer parameter and ask Plutus code? Okay, the redeemer parameter is this. This is the redeemer. The redeemer is, for example, if you have a platform like this that you can buy things, and after you select buy, you can select many options, many products, many products. This redeemer, for example, this redeemer of your platform, that the front end of your platform, in this case, have three options: update the buy a function named called buy, a function called cancel. You can cancel the cancel the buy. You can make the buy, cancel the buy, or update the buy. And imagine in your front end, you have three buttons: buy, cancel, and update. And not only three buttons, you have a form composed by, for example, the address of the buyer, the price of the product. In the hood, you have a function named code to owner, that is the commission of the owner of the platform. The redeemer permits, in this case, choose the choosing of what you, as a user, what you want to do with the application. You want to buy, or you want to cancel the buy, or you want to update the buy. And each condition has their own conditions. Each option has their own conditions. So the redeemer is the redeemer's parameter. Where is, okay? Here we are, the redeemer. This is, and is vital to control the traffic. Control the traffic to your application. The redeemer permits to identify what's the intention of the user, what the user wants to do with your application. He or she wants to buy or cancel a previous buy, or update the buy. I'm still confused and I'm familiar with the code structure. Okay, no problem. In the next session, we can see something like that. But the general idea is, here we have the redeemer, and we have other things like the datum and the context, and these parameters, other parameters that you, as a developer, as a project manager, you can establish that are necessary to your application. And no problem. In the next session, we can solve some things about it.
Awesome.
That's right.
Coincidentally, it's 2 hours, exactly 2 hours. We just went over 1 minute, and I'll keep that in note. Redeemer code structure is something that we will be going in depth in our next session and also our last session. So just a reminder for all participants, the next meeting will be our last session of this Gimbalabs Train the Trainer. Remember that this session is to identify you, Valdrian, Arman, Sonny, Alex, and Shinji. I think that you are the future educators of Gimbalabs from your specific community. From you, you will submit your own proposal, that continues this sort of program to develop the developer ecosystem in your specific community. Please let me address my specific community in Indonesian, Sebastian. Sekali lagi terima kasih kawan-kawan. Ini adalah sesi terakhir dan please note sesi terakhir. Sorry, bukan sesi terakhir. Masih ada satu sesi lagi di mana sesi yang satu lagi itu adalah sesi terakhir dan akan tetapi manfaatkan waktu ini karena kita sudah bisa dibilang 90% menjalani semua prosesnya, manfaatkan waktu ini untuk membuat proposal, meneruskan proses ini. Ya, setahu saya itu sudah mulai dilakukan oleh Bung Gurga dan setahu saya Mas Valdrian itu juga tertarik, Mas Andreas juga tertarik. Nah, silakan koordinasi di antara kalian bagaimana ingin mengajukan proposal ini. Mas Arman juga dengan Mas Sony, silakan bergabung. Karena kita membutuhkan kalian semua agar program Gimbalabs Train the Trainer Indonesia itu bisa berjalan dengan baik. Sekali lagi terima kasih sudah datang. Saya benar-benar respect kepada kalian. Seandainya saya bisa ada waktu untuk belajar developer, saya pun juga akan belajar. Karena itu saya benar-benar menghargai waktu kalian yang ingin membangun dan ingin belajar komunitas Indonesia. Again, thank you everyone for coming, especially you, Sebastian, for taking time to teach the communities everywhere. It's really appreciated. And we're looking forward to our last session. And please do keep healthy. Always keep awesome and see you next week. Thank you, Sebastian. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Terima kasih, teman-teman.